Hey guys, it's Rachel from Little Green Lamb, and today I have a book review on First Light by Bill Rancic. This will be a no spoilers review, and also if you're new to my book reviews or just need a refresher, I rate my books into 5 different categories: plot, characters, cover, suspense, and overall in terms of reading again very soon, 5 out of 5, not so soon, 1 out of 5. So basically this book, it's very hard to give a synopsis without spoiling a lot of the book. So the synopsis of this book is basically about a couple who are driving to the Yukon, which is a place in Canada, where they were both in a horrific plane crash. And they're telling their son about this plane crash and about what went through their heads during this, their survival, their experiences, and that kind of thing. And it goes back and forth from the car to the plane crash, but the predominant, over 3/4 of the book is centered around the plane crash, and there's only little interludes from the car ride. So this book, it does have a very long synopsis, but I think that sums it up pretty well without giving too much away. And this book, I read it very quickly. It had me gripped to my seat. I've read a few kind of disaster novels before, and sometimes it's very hard for me to connect with them, but I really like the plot of this, especially when they're telling their son what kind of happened. And it's not it's first person because you're hearing their perspectives in the crash, but then you get to hear what happened after. And I feel like a lot of disaster ones just end and you don't get to hear about what their lives are after. So I really like that perspective where we do get to hear about their lives, because once you get invested in somebody, and especially if it's a survival story, you're very invested in them surviving. And the people survive, and it's oh, it's over. It's you're so invested in their lives, you want to know how their lives are going to be when they come back, even if we just have a little 2-sentence update about what they did later on in life. I would like that, and this book gives me that, so I really enjoyed that. So plot, I give a 4 out of 5. The plot was really good. I really was thinking about I wasn't sure if I was going to give it a 5, a 4.5, or a 4, but I decided to go with a 4 out of 5 just because there were a few slow parts, but I really enjoyed it nonetheless. I was looking forward. This is one of my most anticipated releases of the last half of last year. I'm pretty sure that's when it came out. But I was really looking forward to it. Yeah, it was the last half of last year. I was really looking forward to it for a while, and it didn't disappoint in that retrospect. But I'm trying to be a little bit more critical of my books from now on, because that's something I'm striving for this year, because I want to look at, I really did enjoy it though. I don't want to just, I don't hand out a lot of 5 stars, but I feel like sometimes I do. So I want to be more selective with that, but 4 stars is nothing to be balking at. But basically, I really enjoyed what happened with the plot. I really liked, like I said up top, that, we got to hear about the update. I just really like, and there's kind of a little mystery in this. I kind of guessed it from the beginning, but I really liked seeing it fall through, and you didn't really know if it was going to happen. Another thing about this book is, if you've watched my videos before, you might have heard me talk about this book, but for my contemporary Canadian fiction class I had in 3rd year, last year, basically we read a book called, what is it called? Marie Chapdelaine, A Tale of French Canada by Louis Hamon. And basically that book has a similar key to this. And I'm going to hold up this book, and when I put it down, the spoiler's over. So spoilers happening now quickly. So basically that book has a character named Francois Paradis, and he, my teacher even said this, he's I've read this book 70 times, and every time I read it, I always think Francois is going to come back. And he doesn't come back, and the reader's just waiting. And I was reading that, I'm when is he going to come back? And it's such a disappointment, and that kind of reminded me of this character in this book. You want him to come back, you're he's going to come back, and he doesn't come back, and I really liked that. So spoilers over, but that was kind of my little comparison to Maria Chapdelaine, which I really liked that comparison, but every time I think of Maria Chapdelaine, I'm oh, Francois Paradis. But yeah, basically going on. So characters, I give a 4 out of 5. Now the characters I didn't super connect with, but I think that's also because there was a lot of tragedy, and if you read the book, some of the circumstances within the book. Some people are injured. You don't get to hear about a lot of people because some people are either just extras, or they're dead. One thing that I was kind of confused at was that they said at the beginning that they're the survivors and they have to go for the dead, so I thought they were the only survivors, so I was very confused when there was other people around. But I really liked all the characters and all the main characters. I feel at the beginning we kind of got into their lives, and I feel for a disaster novel they did a pretty good job of discussing giving you a little bit more background on characters, and not just oh, they're stuck here and they were at the mall. Not this book, but other books are at the mall and now they're stuck here. You get to hear more about their lives and get more into their emotional side. I didn't super connect with them, probably because it is a disaster novel. It's not a touchy-feely novel where you have to, well, you don't have to, but mostly the characters are elaborated on. But I think for the circumstances of this novel, there was a really good, like, connect with the characters. Just they weren't my favorite characters of all the land, and I think that's also because it was a disaster situation, so we weren't seeing them in regular life besides, you know, in certain parts of the book, but for the most part of the cover, I give a 5 out of 5. This cover is gorgeous. This is one of the main reasons I also wanted this hardback, because it's just so pretty. The regular hardback is just blue and white. It's like that. I'm just gonna put that back. But the rose, like, it kind of reminds me of Sleeping Beauty. Not gonna lie. I get, like, where the rose comes in and that kind of thing, but even though it doesn't, like, I just really love it. It's so pretty. And here's the spine. The spine I'm not a giant fan of just because it curls over the sides, if you can see, so you can't really, it just bothers me that way. But the cover is just, like, this is, I would say, probably my favorite cover of last year. It's just so striking, and I just love it. It's, like, mint. It's just, like, it's so beautiful. This is one of the ones that, like, I want to have on display because it's just so pretty. And it was a really good book, so it has that going. It has a lot going for it. And suspense, I'm going to give it a 5 out of 5. It kept me wanting to read. I wanted to know what was going to happen. It wasn't just, you know, like a disaster novel. It did have a twist at the beginning that you really want to keep reading to find out, which really motivated me as a reader to find out what was going to happen. And I just want to keep reading this. I was carrying it back and forth with me to school because I'm, you know, commuting back and forth. And even on the bus, like, I have a 10-minute bus ride, I'd quickly, like, pull up my book and read it as fast as I could. Well, not as fast as I could, but, like, you know, quickly in the time I had. And I would bring this with me, and I just, like, the last day, I think I read over 100 pages because I just tried to do my homework really quick so I could get to this, and it was really enjoyable. And overall, I'm going to give this one a 5 out of 5 for rereadability. I'll definitely be rereading this in the future. It doesn't take me long to get through this. It's a pretty short novel. It's a very enjoyable, well, it's weird saying it's enjoyable because it does chronicle a disaster, but it's enjoyable in the sense that, you know, like, certain good things happen, I guess, and, like, you know, there's certain sweet moments and stuff like that, but it's, you know, a very interesting novel. I don't read very many disaster novels, but also it wasn't scary, because I know sometimes they can be a little bit scary, because Trapped by Michael, no, his name's not Michael, but Northrop is his last name. That book was a little bit scary to me, but this one wasn't very scary, just in case you're a little bit wary of that, because I know some people are scaredy cats like me. It didn't scare me. You know, I guess maybe because I have never been on a plane, then that wouldn't be a big fear of mine, because I never experienced that part, so I can't really connect with that part, like going, like, in a plane and stuff, having turbulence, because never been on one. So maybe that was just me and my disconnect from, you know, air travel. But yes, that is my book review on First Light by Bill Rancic. Definitely a good read, and if you're in the market for a book kind of that's mysterious and a disaster, I definitely recommend picking this one up. And I want to thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys later. Bye!